All right, what is up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, coming in with a video on General Grievous, or GG as a lot of people like to put it. Now, there isn't anything really new with General Grievous after the previous update. I mean, there are obviously, the March after this previous Worlds Adepticon in 2025, but he is different from the OG card, I guess, if you want to put it. But yeah, there's nothing crazy new about him, but for people who are interested in playing him and or who just maybe have gotten the beginner's box and or the Separatist Invasion Battle Force, there are a lot of options that you can build. So if you're just getting into it, there's a few lists that I'm going to go over that you can choose from that are just kind of fun, put together lists that I can at least give you a few pointers on just in case you're interested. If you're very used to Grievous, the suppression list at the end might be fun for you because it's just all about suppression and trying to get Grievous in there without having to take many risks, which he doesn't like doing anyway. But I'll go over that. First, I just wanted to kind of mention the Discord. If you want, head on over there to the Discord now. If you've got questions about Legion, if you're interested in showing anything off that you're painting, this is the perfect place to go. If you want to talk about CIS, this is, I think, one of the most active Legion faction channels that is always active. There's always people commenting on it. I feel like it is one of the most popular. So if you've got questions or you want to talk about CIS, this is the place to go. If you want, you can head on over to the Patreon. This is where you're going to get things early and you're going to get, help the channel grow. You're going to get extra giveaway points. And yeah, it just kind of helps the channel to grow, and also be a subscriber and leave a comment. And you can also get entered in to win the giveaways. If you're on the Discord and you just chat and talk away, your server level will go up, which just means that at the beginning of the giveaways, like time, whenever we start the new giveaway, unless this last one would have been May 1st, everyone who levels up basically gets an entry point into the giveaway, and it's just a great way to reward the people who are active. So if you don't comment and you're basically just at least in the Discord, this is another way to level up. So all right, I'll go ahead and kind of get us started with General Grievous. So General Grievous is going to come in the faction box when you first get started, and he also comes in the Separatist Invasion Force. So there's a lot to kind of go over for him, so I'll just go ahead and get straight into it. So General Grievous is 8 health, which is a very amazing amount of health. I think only Vader has this amount of health for a commander, I should say. And he's got red saves, which is really good. You got a 50-50 chance, basically, of making a save. He's got 2 courage, which is a little low for a commander. And because 2 suppression tokens, which means that if you just have gotten shot at twice, and he's got 2 suppression, he's suppressed. If he gets shot at 4 times, or at least once with a suppressive gun, that's a much easier way to become panicked. And it's really not fun when General Grievous is panicked, because then he only gets 1 action, and you can still trigger Relentless off of a move, which is great. So he almost still gets 2 actions in a way, but being able to double move with him is very, very important in the very beginning of the game, especially. So you want to try to get the amount of, you don't really want a lot of suppression on him. Now, he does move at speed 2, which is great. He doesn't surge offensively or defensively, so you really got to make sure you're filling him up with aims or surge tokens, which there are a few different ways to do. And his keywords are great. Block, so if you spend a dodge token, you basically gain surge to defend. So now you don't really have to worry about surge tokens for defense. So it's really great. So, there's a gear slot that, is prepared supplies, which is a nice way to give him at least a dodge in the beginning of the game to make sure he has it when he needs it. He's got Entourage, IG, 100 Magna Guard. So basically, if you include a unit of Magna Guard with him, they're going to get a free order token, which is really, really nice. because the more order tokens you have out on the board, the better. And then he's immune to Pierce, again, which is really, really great. And it's not just melee Pierce like the Magna Guard. The Magna Guard are just immune to melee Pierce, but General Grievous is not going to get pierced by any gun or Jedi. So that'll keep him alive a little bit longer. He's got Jedi Hunter, which means that if General Grievous goes after any other Force user, so like maybe he's going after Asajj or Maul or Dooku on somebody else's, in somebody else's list, or Luke or Anakin or anyone, he's going to gain Surge to crit. So that's absolutely amazing because you can't dodge crits, and so being able to Surge to crit and then spin a dodge to gain Surge to block is really great. So he's good in melee. You want him kind of in melee because then he also doesn't gain suppression tokens unless the melee weapon has the keyword suppressive on it. So it's just a matter of getting into melee. He's got Relentless, so that means you can make a free attack action after a move. It's still one attack action per activation, unless otherwise stated by a command card, especially with other units, but you can double move and then get a free attack action. You can't move, attack, and then move, attack again. It's just one attack per activation. So yeah, you usually will aim, move, and then shoot, or move, shoot, whatever you want to do. But it also works for melee. You can move, and charge him, basically. So get that free melee attack in as well. And then Scale helps him to not worry about difficult terrain. It doesn't slow him down. He's going to keep moving at speed 2 basically no matter what. So that is awesome. Now, climbing is different. Climbing is not a move action. It's something different. So it will kind of slow him down to climb, but at the same time, difficult terrain is not going to slow him down. His melee profile is 2 red dice, 2 white dice, and 4 black dice. So a good amount of dice, 8 dice in melee, which is really, really nice. It's critical 1, impact 2, pierce 2. So the critical 1, whenever you're not going after a Jedi, is good because, again, you're definitely going to be rolling some surges at some point. And being able to turn it into a crit is really good. And then he has a normal Jedi impact 2, pierce 2 profile or keywords on his lightsabers, which I think is just a lightsaber thing. The DT-57 Annihilator pistol is melee to range 2. So if you didn't want to spend the trophy lightsaber, then you could technically use the Annihilator pistol. It's also critical 1, pierce 1, and versatile, which just means that if you're in melee, you can shoot out of melee with General Grievous. So maybe you were in melee and you wanted to finish off a single mini. Maybe there's just one guy left and you want to take care of him, especially on the turn that you play as 1-pip, which I'll go over in a minute. Then that's an easy way at range 2 to take out a single mini, because if it's critical 1, pierce 1, then they're definitely going to be taken off the board. And then after that, you use the 1-pip melee profile, which is great against everybody at range 1. And it's also versatile, so it also gets not only the person that you're engaged with, but everyone else at range 1. And then maybe the next turn, you're already in, melee with somebody. So this is an easy way to, finish them off with your trophy lightsabers, which is a lot of fun. So yeah, General Grievous can be a tank at 8 health. So he can be difficult to get rid of, especially if he's rolling blocks all the time or has a lot of dodge tokens. So you can fill him up with dodge tokens between, any of the commanders like Kalani and Kraken, and he is the same, faction right here as Kalani and Kraken. So with Exemplar on these two guys, you'll be able to share a dodge token with General Grievous if they're at range 2 and in line of sight. So if you can keep any of your commanders at that kind of range of Grievous, it will really help him out quite a bit. Especially, Kalani, who can strategize himself and another unit and then maybe take a dodge if he's already in a good position where he doesn't have to move, because then that's actually 2 dodge tokens that you can have and an aim token. And if you were able to go with the tactical droid before Grievous, then at least you've tokened yourself up. So maybe you strategize yourself and you strategize General Grievous and then you take a dodge. So now you've given Grievous almost everything he needs. So that is a good combination, again, if you can set that up where they're at least at range 2 of each other. And a great way to do that is with crab droids, to be able to get them to, give them scout and then move them up the board. That way you can then move, and then by round 2, maybe 3, you're in a really good position to set that move up. So General Grievous, he's got some command cards. His 3-pip, Crush Them. So you're going to give it to General Grievous and 2 other units. And when a unit is issued an order with this card, that unit's going to gain a surge token for each of your opponent's defeated units. So you really don't want to play this round 1. You're probably going to play this round 3, maybe 4. If round 1 you were able to take out units and you just wanted to go ahead and get rid of this card, or play it, I should say, then it's a great way to gain a surge token on Grievous for offense or defense. So preferably probably defense, as if you don't have a dodge token. If you have a dodge token and you spend it, no matter what, you don't need to spend a surge token on defense, because if you're going to surge to block, period, then use it for offense. But yeah, you're probably going to give it to Grievous, and the Magna Guard are already going to get in order with this. So then you can give it to maybe some B2s. You can, give it to some crab droids for defense. Like if you wanted them to have a surge token for the defense, then that is a great way to use that card as well. But it's very simple, very easy card to understand and use. Supreme Commander is to 2 trooper units. So General Grievous is going to gain Ruthless this round, which just basically means if there is a core unit with a face-up order token, then you're going to be able to have them take a wound to do a free action. So that action can be to move, attack, aim, dodge, whatever it is. Again, only 1 attack action per activation. But yeah, Ruthless is really good, especially if you've got rad cannons on your B1s, or even on B2s. If B2s want to take a wound, you still don't lose a mini because they're 2 health each. You can have them double move and then shoot. And if maybe you've gone with Kalani earlier and he strategized himself, or he strategized 2 different B2 units that got in order, and then he took an aim himself, then again, you just take a wound on a B2 battle droid, you double move, take a shot, and you've got an aim already on there. And if you are at range 2 of them, again, you can use the aim or whatever that Kalani used. Maybe it was a dodge, then you can use that dodge whenever they're getting shot at. But yeah, Ruthless is really great, and General Grievous will do it. So whenever they're at range of Grievous, and when an allied unit is issued an order with this card, that unit and each other allied trooper unit within range 1 and in line of sight of that unit is going to gain a surge. So this is an amazing way to start handing out surge tokens. So let's go over the 1-pip. And within range 1 is like if you have a range ruler and you put it at the base of your guy and it touches any other person's, that's an allied unit of yours, then that's basically within that range 1. All right, the cream of the crap. Okay, we are at General Grievous's best card, Trained in Your Jedi Arts. You just give the order to Grievous. Grievous is going to gain a dodge token and disengage this round, which just means that he can move out of melee against, if there's one mini that he's engaged with, or one unit he's engaged with, then you can just walk right out of it. You don't have to withdraw. You can just disengage. That way you can still move out of melee with disengage and then move closer to a horde of units to be able to use this, ability. At the end of General Grievous's next activation, he can make an attack against each enemy unit within range 1 and in line of sight using the weapon below. So basically it's one of the lightsabers. Normally his weapon profile is 2-2-4. This is just one of those lightsabers. It is suppressive and versatile. So, and it's up to melee to range 1. So if you double move into melee with somebody, and you attack at the next activation, he can make, all this attacking. and it's really good. So like basically, you are going to try to move into a bunch of different units so that you can kind of hit them all with suppression and this lightsaber. So this is a great way to hand out suppression, give them a dodge, do a whole bunch of good stuff here. So I'll go over a few different list ideas. First off, I'll go over a Separatist invasion force. With 12 activations, it's 1,000 points, and you might find this one a lot of fun. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me go over a few different, upgrades that are possibly going to be really good with him. Improvised orders. If you don't bring Kalani or Kraken, improvised orders is going to be good. Inspiring presence is not going to be that great because he's still courage 2. So for the most part, you're probably going to be keeping all your B1s close to him. Your B2s are courage 2. And droid troopers don't lose an action if they're suppressed. It's only when they panic. So you really don't need inspiring presence on there. Lead by example. You probably not. I wouldn't want to spend the points on Grievous for a lead by example. But if, again, you don't have any way to get rid of a bunch of suppression, you're going up against a list that has a lot of suppression, then lead by example would be okay. Strict orders is probably going to be a better one because during the activation phase, when an allied unit that has a face-up order token starts its rally step, it can just choose to remove a suppression instead of rolling dice. And with droids, you're always usually handing out a ton of order tokens, especially with coordinate. So strict orders is probably going to be better than lead by example. Underworld connections is probably not needed on General Grievous, and vigilance is probably, again, not really needed on him because he's already going to be pretty expensive for what he does, and so not having to load him up with a bunch of different things is probably ideal. But again, if you needed to put something on there, improvised orders would be really good, and strict orders could also be really good. So yeah, any of the orders. Some of the best training is endurance. I think endurance is going to be good because this unit can remove one suppression token at the end of the activation phase. So, at the end of the activation phases, whenever you're done with him, you can remove a suppression, and then at the end of the round, you'll also still remove a suppression. So this is a great way to keep removing more. End of the fray is going to be great because during the activation phase, when an enemy unit starts its activation, within range 1 of this unit can gain a surge token. So if you are basically in the middle of a whole bunch of units, especially after playing that 1 pip, and they activate, they put an order token down to go with them, or they decide to go with them and they're at range 1, you gain a surge token. So this is a great way to gain more surge tokens, especially if you don't have a dodge. And endurance, I guess at the end of the activation phase, basically, if you didn't quite get it, it's after you're done activating, you're going to remove that suppression token. Offensive push could be good, a good idea. If you've got points to spare and you want him to have an aim, especially after that relentless, then it could be okay. There's no real time that he recovers. So offensive push might not be the most bang for your buck. On the hunt could be okay if you really wanted to make sure that you're going after Jedi or Force users with the Jedi Hunter and you wound them. It's a great way to gain an aim to make sure that you can reroll extra dice and probably do more damage. Seize initiative could be good, especially if you're bringing like Count Dooku or Asajj or Maul, some other big named unit. Seize initiative could be great just to give him an order. Tenacity is also really, really good because you're going to gain a red attack dice whenever you're wounded. So if you're wounded, you're basically going to give yourself a red attack dice, and your profile will be 3 red, 2 white, 4 black. So that's also pretty nice. And then up close and personal could be okay if you had the points as well, because anytime that you make a ranged attack against an enemy unit within range 2, after the attack is resolved, you're going to gain a dodge. And his Annihilator Pistol is up to range 2, so anytime he will shoot with his Annihilator Pistol, it's a great way to get a dodge. And so if you... I think if you play his 1-pip, when you're making the attack outside of melee, you should be able to gain a dodge as well. So that is another way to load up on those dodges. And then for gear, you don't need environmental gear because that's basically just giving you scale, and you already have scale. You're not a support unit, so electric binoculars is not great. Emergency stims. I mean, definitely, if you want him to basically, but not basically, have 10 wounds. Emergency stims is basically if you're going to suffer wounds from an attack, you can prevent suffering up to 2 wounds and place those wounds on this card. And then at the end of this unit's next activation, this unit is going to take those wounds back. So if you're in round 5 at the very end of the game and you take 2 wounds because you're still alive and you've got 1 health left, you can choose to put those wounds on this card and keep Grievous alive. And then you're not going round 6. You're not going to the end, like another round. So you don't even have to worry about putting those wounds back on him. So if you are trying to score a POI and, you know, they've done everything they can to try and take you out and you're not panicked, then this is a wonderful card. And then Prepared Supplies is probably one of the better ones because you're going to get a cash dodge, which means that you can just put a dodge token on this card at the beginning of the game and use that dodge whenever you want to. So now you can spend that for block to gain that Search Defend whenever you really need it. There is Recon Intel. If you wanted Recon Intel, you could. I would probably do Prepared Supplies over Recon Intel. And then Targeting Scopes, I wouldn't necessarily need because, you know, if you give yourself a Search token with your command cards, or you are engaged with a Jedi, you don't really... I mean, you're rolling 2 red and 4 black. There's usually a 50-50 chance, if not a little bit more when you're surging with black dice. There's more than enough of a chance with the red dice. And it's a very slim chance with white dice. But if you are, again, engaged with a Jedi or a Sith, you're going to surge to offense. So Targeting Scopes, more than likely, you probably don't need. I would just say Prepared Supplies, Emergency Stims are really good. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into the list. So this is a 12 activation Separatist Invasion Force list. General Grievous is going to have improvised orders and endurance, again, just to make sure that it doesn't get suppressed or panicked. And because if he's going to get shot at a lot, endurance is a great way to go. You have a T-Series droid with nothing. That's it. Now, if you wanted to, boom, improvised orders makes General Grievous cheaper, so that if he does get taken off the board, then that's only 136 points and not 141 points that was taken off. So if you are getting close on kill points, then, you know, being able to put improvised orders on the T-Series is much better. You've got 2 naked B1s, so nothing on them. You've got 3 B1s with E5S, which basically is a range 1 to 4 sniper rifle, critical 1, a red and white dice, and you've got 3 of those. So that way it's easier shooting across the board after you especially get on the board. You've got 2 Magna Guards with the Electro Whip Magna Guard. 1, this makes it cheaper for the entire unit, and 2, having an immobilize token on an enemy who is just outside a POI and now they can't move and score, this is awesome. And if you do this to a Jedi, this is probably going to be one of the things they hate the most and are going to be afraid of the most, because they want to force push you away and move and or do what they need to do and keep on trucking. But an immobilized token is going to keep them where they are, and having 2 of them is very, very powerful. So they're going to be, and it's from melee to range 1, so it's a very close card, but it's definitely worth it to have. There's 2 stat riders, because I wanted to add staps in here. We haven't had staps very much, and with the fact that they can coordinate to a droid trooper or a vehicle is really great, because then you can give it to an order to 1 stat rider, he will give it to the 2nd stat rider, who can then give it to this AAT, who can then get an aim with Link Targeting Array, and with the Ohm series, he can gain Coordinate Droid Trooper unit. So then you give it to the B1s, who can then coordinate it to the Magna Guard, and then, or you give it to a Separatist who then coordinates to another Separatist, coordinates to the AAT, who then coordinates to a Magna Guard. And then your T-Series has direct a core droid trooper unit. Your T-Series gives it to a B1, who then chains it all the way down to the second Magna Guard. So now, the only thing left in the bag are General Grievous and your T-Series, if you were giving your orders to the Separators. And that is just giving out 2 units. So now you're almost you've got perfect order control at that point. So that's really good. And then your AAT has link targeting array, so that way whenever they get an order, they get an aim, armor piercing shells, high energy shells, and then the series droid pilot, so that they can coordinate to a droid trooper for more better order control. Now your command cards for AI coordination, basically it's going to give it to a heavy or support unit. So again, if you give it to the AAT, which I suggest doing because when a unit that is issued an order with this card, it's going to gain a standby. So you want to give that standby to the AAT. You can't standby with compulsory vehicles or repulsory vehicles. So you want to give it to the AAT, who can then gain an aim, and with the series, give it to the Magna Guard, and then the T series can just go ahead and direct the B1s, who can then go all the way down to the other Magna Guard. So you need to set that up properly. But again, with just giving out one order and handing a standby to the tank, the only thing that's going to be left in your bag basically are your Stab Riders and your commanders. And if you have improvised orders, I mean, you are real solid. Now, you don't have to have improvised orders. If you wanted to spend those 5 points on prepared supplies instead on General Grievous, bam, there you go. You are solid on Grievous and going to be good to go with him. And the Magna Guard have, Guardian 2 for commander. So they can prevent Grievous from taking wounds, possibly, by, having that Guardian. So General Grievous is going to last a little bit longer with the Magna Guard there. And then you've also got the Unstoppable Advance card, specifically for this invasion force. When a unit is issued an order with this card, it can make a speed 1 move. This could basically be the scout move onto the board for 3 of your B1s with the E5S. So that way they can scout or do a free speed 1 move, take a move, and then they're definitely at range 4 of something. So they can then shoot at least the red and white critical 1, hoping to get at least a crit through or something through, and try to do some early wounds. So that's a great way to start with this one. Again, we've gone over Crush Them, Supreme Commander. I've got Orbital Strike in here instead of Unrelenting Assault, because then you can use this card to basically do 2 red, 2 black, 2 red, 2 black shot that is suppressive and immune to deflect onto the board from range 4 to infinity. So this is also another good turn 1 card if you need it. And then Trained in Jedi Arts and the AI Coordination. So 12 activations. You've got a tank. You've got Stab Riders. You've got pretty much a lot of thematic stuff in here. 2 Magna Guard to help General Grievous with anything he needs. And then he's also going to be able to give an order to a Magna Guard to begin with. So you don't necessarily have to end it. The tank can coordinate to the T-Series if he needed to. Then the T-Series can coordinate to everything else if he needed to. Now, there is no more comms relay, which kind of stinks, but it is what it is at this point. And I think even still putting a T-Series droid in there for the bolster 2 to be able to give even Grievous some extra surge tokens by giving him 1 surge token, and then giving the T-Series himself a surge token with Exemplar, and then maybe take a move or an aim or whatever he needs. At least having some extra surge tokens is really nice. All right, next up, we've got a 14 activation list. And this is something you're probably going to see a lot with droids. Is it probably a 12 to 14 activation list. This one, you've got Grievous with Into the Fray, so that he can gain those surge tokens when he is in the fray, basically. And Prepared Supplies. So this one is definitely a Grievous that's supposed to be more aggressive. You've got Kraken with Improvised Orders. So Kraken with Strategize 1. It really meant to be Kalani, not Kraken. So exactly the same, but no improvised orders this time. Now, you've got Kalani, who can strategize to and direct AI. So if he needed to direct the Droidicas, or if he needed to direct any of the BXs or anyone, he can. General Grievous is always going to give that order to the Magna Guard, which is really good. But Kalani is great for that strategize too, because he can give, an aim and a dodge to Grievous, and an aim and a dodge to himself for Exemplar, and then he can also move or take an aim or whatever, or dodge, so that Grievous can really benefit from the dodge tokens for block. And you've got 4 B1 battle droids with the extra battle droid in case you do use Ruthless to be able to get them to move for whatever reason, or another move, aim, shoot, or move, shoot, whatever they need to do. Maybe move, recover, so that if they're getting suppressed, they can recover, get rid of all the suppression, move, or recover, move, shoot, so that way they can score, because if you are panicked on a POI, you don't score. The Magna Guard are a very aggressive Magna Guard. They've got Electro Whip, Magna Guard, they have Into the Fray, so that way they can get a surge token when they're at range 1 of a unit. Hacked comms unit, so that way, actually, you don't need hacked comms. So, back to improvised orders on Kalani, just in case. For the BX series droids, or the Droidicas, and or General Grievous or Kalani, so if you don't want that, then you don't need it. But yeah, they have Enter the Fray, Impact Grenades, and the Electro Whip Magna Guard on the Magna Guard unit. And then you've got 2 droid commando units with the Deoxys Mine Saboteur and the Vibro Swords. So that way they've got charge and they can be very aggressive with the Magna Guard. And then you have 2 sniper droid strike teams. Because we haven't seen these in a while, I feel like. And it's range 1 to 5, 2 red. It's not, high velocity, which kind of sucks. But it is at least immune to deflect and lethal. So if you've got that extra aim, you can spend it for lethal. And it's nice to be able to put out some extra suppression. And then you have 3 Droidica units. So you've got 14 activations, lots of ways to put out suppression between the snipers, the Droidicas, the BX commando droids, which can even shoot to range 3. Magna Guards, if they needed to, with the Electro Whip is also... Oh, well, this one's not suppressive, so I take that back. But yeah, lots of ways with the B1s to even just take a shot and hopefully get a hit, and or if you've strategized, you can use an aim from them. But I figured 14 activation is going to be really tough to go up against, especially if you're playing it safe. You're going to overwhelm in numbers. This one is an 11 act list, but a lot more red dice saves. So you have Grievous with Into the Fray, Kalani with Improvised Orders, again for the Strategize 2 and Direct AI unit, in case he needs to direct any of the B2s. You've got 3 B2 units with the normal ACM and hacked comms unit, because if there's a lot of things that are they shoot at range 2, right? So if there's a lot of units that are trying to get to range 2 and or into melee with the B2s, the hacked comms is a great way to be able to give them an order, so you don't really have to worry about it, and you can worry about giving the crab droids or the aqua droids with the direct AI in order. So that you have aqua droids with the heavy, you've got 3 crab droids with defense protocols and twin blaster cannons. So if you do strategize, onto 2 different crab droids, that's an aim and a dodge, and then maybe you take a dodge. You have defense protocols, which gives you nimble and outmaneuver, so you can cancel crits. So if anything has impact, and you're dodging already, but maybe they've rolled a lot of crits already and they don't have impact, well, you can go ahead and dodge that and get the dodge back with the nimble. And if you're outside of range 3 of Kalani, well, you're going to have AI dodge instead of shoot or move or anything like that. So it's not bad. At least you're going to try to keep them alive with red dice saves here. So you have red dice saves between all your crab droids, your Magna Guards, your B2s, your Kalani, and Grievous. And the B1s have electric binoculars so that they can give out that aim probably to the Magna Guards or to the B2s, because your Magna Guards are going to always have retinue and dodge, AI dodge move. But retinue, you can give them an aim or dodge, whatever you needed to do. And yeah. The crab droids are trying to give their scout scouting party 1 to, you have General Grievous, you have it to Kalani, and you can give it to the Magna Guard. You could give it to all 3 B2s to give them scout. But you've got Infiltrate with the Aqua Droids. You've got Scout 1 with all of the Crab Droids. And then your B2s, which are all range 2, could also have Scout. You're probably going to, though, give it to Grievous and the Magna Guard for sure, and then maybe to a B1 or B2 unit. But that's up to you. Now, you don't have to have hacked comms unit. You could technically also have, comms jammer. So that way they can't give out an order to anyone other than themselves. If you want to save those extra 15 points, you could technically not put electrobinoculars on there, but you could give yourself the E5S and then an extra B1. So that way you've got a pretty stacked B1 squad instead. And improvised orders is on here because B2s don't have coordinate. And so you could probably give it to the B1s, you can then give it to a B2, but then you've got 2 B2s that don't have an order. Which is why hacked comms unit was on there. I'll leave it like this, and if you want to go back to hacked comms, you can always find the list in the descriptions below. But yeah, I figured a lot more red saves. You don't need as many activations. I think 11 is going to be good. And the B2s, having the ability to pick between 2 different weapons already means that you don't have to spend the extra points for the B2 Ha Trooper, even though it's range 2 to 3. You might as well just stick with the ACM Trooper. Why not? But yeah, at least this Grievous can, with Into the Fray, be whatever it needs to be. Yeah. And fourth list is a 12 activation list. This one is the Suppression list. So this one's going to have Grievous with Into the Fray. You have Bosk with Seize the Initiative, On the Hunt, and Targeting Scopes. So that way, if you need to give Grievous his 1-pip, you can also seize the initiative on Bosk and go with him when you need to. On the hunt for free aims against anyone with a wound token, and then targeting scopes because he's throwing a ton of white dice. You're going to want those targeting scopes. You've got 2 Geonosian Warriors with the Force Pike Warrior, which has suppressive on either side. So with this overrun, you can basically do your free jump move, do an overrun, and then you could move and then, shoot, which would also give it a suppression, or melee, and give them a suppression. And then they have the extra Geonosian Warrior just for some extra bodies. You've got some B1s with E5S, so that way if you needed to shoot long range, you can start putting out suppression early. And you've got a good range 4 list between Bosk and the B1s. All of them have the E5S. 2 of them don't have an extra guy, and 2 units do have an extra guy. So you've got 4 B1s in total and 6 core units altogether. You've got 3 Droidicas, which have a suppressive gun. And then you have an AAT with Lockderd, which gives your weapons on the AAT suppressive. And then with Mirage, you can shoot your 4 red dice, hand out 2 suppression, and then shoot your 2 red dice or 4 red dice again and hand out another 2 suppression. Or your high energy shells. And since we're seeing a ton of rebel stuff with their dodges, the high energy shells are going to be really good. And then armor piercing is just an extra impact 3 on top of your impact 2 here and critical 2. So you're going to be doing a lot of damage to any armored unit if you had to. But this is a very highly suppressive list. Almost every single unit. Droidicas have suppressive. AAT can have suppressive. Your Geonosian Warriors have the keyword suppressive. Bosk has suppressive. And then General Grievous with his 1-pip is going to be suppressive. So I would also recommend that you try to suppress the unit or units that you will use General Grievous's 1-pip for. So, like, you want General Grievous to be safe. And so, for the most part, and there's no IG Magna Guards in here on this one, sadly, but I wanted to just kind of get Grievous in there. And so, in order to keep him safe, since you don't have Guardian, you use Bosk, the Geonosian Warriors, to either start suppressing units or try to get into melee with them and tie them down for General Grievous to walk in and play that 1-pip next turn. So hopefully when you do play that 1-pip that turn, all the units have at least 2 suppression tokens on them, so that way you have the ability to kind of hopefully get in there safely, because you could have your opponent lose an action on a unit that you know could do a lot of damage to Grievous, but because they can only make an attack action and not aim an attack, that at least helps with General Grievous possibly staying alive a little longer. There's something there to it. But yeah, you're just trying to suppress everyone so that General Grievous can come in and do what it needs to, or at least suppress everyone so they can't score. So this is a great 12 activation list, just to make sure that you are doing a lot to your opponent, I should say. And then last but not least, I wanted to do this one and put some spider droids, since we haven't seen any spider droids or lists with them on this one. So you've got Grievous with Endurance and Prepared Supplies. You've got Kalani, again, with Improvised Orders. Because having a Super Tac droid is really good. I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's really nice to have. And then you've got 3 B2s with ACM. You have a B1 unit with an extra B1 Battle Droid. You've got a Magna Guard with the Electro Whip. I don't have the Rocket Guy in there, because these Magna Guard, again, are trying to get as aggressive as possible. And you've got, between the Aqua Droids having Impact and the Dwarf Spider Droids having the nose-mounted Ion Blaster with Impact 2 and Ion and Critical, I figured that having an Immobilize is a little bit scarier, since you already have a lot to use Impact with. And with this one, you're probably having Kalani stay back with the Spider Droids and strategizing them both, and having them gain an aim and a dodge, and instead of attack protocol, or instead of defense protocols, if you wanted them to have attack protocols, it'll make them a little bit deadlier when they shoot, because then you have aim and precise 2, so you can reroll 4 dice instead of 2. And with them rolling, 3 white, 3 black, even though it's critical 1, and you do still surge to hit, it's nice to try to still get as close to 6 hits coming through as possible, especially with as much armor is out there. So that's nice to have. But, with defense protocols, you're keeping them alive a little bit longer, especially since they have white dice for defense. So it's kind of up to you. Offense and defense protocols are the exact same, so you can change them if you want to. And you have 2 Aqua Droid units that are in front of Grievous, trying to keep Grievous out of line of sight, along with the Vanguard Guard behind him, trying to just kind of keep him alive if anything does get through. It's 11 activations, but it's very impact heavy, and hopefully it is very aggressive in trying to get close range and lots of dice into someone. But yeah, all right, that is really it, guys. I hope I did some justice to Grievous, because I am not a CIS player, and I wanted to at least make sure that I hit CIS and cycle through every faction before cycling back, because everyone deserves a video, in my opinion. I don't want to ignore a faction because I don't play it. So if I've missed anything, if I've misstated anything, then please in the comments down below, put it in there so that anyone who does watch this and wants to play CIS can get a better understanding of Grievous. And with that, also you can head on over to the Discord and go into CIS and ask as many questions about Grievous as you want, between Saved Stanicus, between Master Mud, and the Atlantis, Emperor Atlantis. You will have a lot of information. So yeah, head on over there and become a member. And make sure you are subscribed and leave a comment down below to enter to win a gift card. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. And that is it. All of the lists will be in the descriptions down below. So y'all have a great one. And make sure you like and subscribe. All right. Peace out, guys. Y'all have a good one.